So let me do Michelle, thanks for logging in. I know we've got a bunch of people joining us on Zoom. We've also got some on Facebook. So welcome if you're following us on Facebook. Today's session is what we call an accelerate session. And our guest, Nikki, let me do a quick test. Nikki, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for joining us. I might have said it before, but this is my favorite session of the month. I love learning and talking about, Facebook ads and sales and all that type of stuff. But I think the fastest way and the easiest way to get better at what we do is find someone that's already had some runs on the board and see if there's little things that we can implement into our own business. So, thank you for logging in today. I know you're like a manager of a successful fitness studio, and if you're happy to today, I want to throw a bunch of questions at you and see, maybe if there's a bit of a pattern or a few tips you can share as to what's kind of been behind your recent growth. So, Nikki, tell us a little bit about the gym that you manage. Where are you based? What's it called?
Okay, so we're Val Health and Fitness, and we're located in Greenvale, Victoria.
Yep.
Are a non-profit organisation, so we're actually run by a board of members.
Yes.
We're under the basketball stadium, so we also have other leisure centres as well, but Val is our main female-only gym.
Okay.
We're just located in a little shopping centre, and we have now 410 members.
Okay, very cool. And tell me, for those that maybe are not based in Victoria or haven't sort of been to the gym, is it sort of gym access? What types of services do you offer?
So the access is so the services we offer are classes. So that's our main thing here is the classes. They're really popular. We have PT services as well. And we also do challenges, but we find that the challenges aren't going too well here. So that's not really something that we as a service as such.
Yeah, okay. And look, there's definitely a knack to challenges. I've definitely had those conversations with people that say, Facebook doesn't really work well for us, or, we've never had sold a lot of personal training or something. And in my experience, it's generally just a skill, and it's like any skill, it takes a bit of practice and a few failures before you get some going. So more than happy to sort of discuss the challenges and see if we can sort of help you with those this year. But you're very modest. I'm curious to sort of tap into a little bit more about the brand and see what's been sort of working well. Tell us a bit about like a women's only gym. How do you feel like that benefits you and maybe even disadvantages you? How do you feel about like women's only?
A female gym compared to what I used to work in before here, where it was mixed, it is very challenging. Coming from someone I'm a very positive person, so it has its moments. So the good thing about it is that we make this gym community based.
Yeah, great.
So everyone inside the gym to feel like, everybody can come here, train here, and everybody talks to each other. Where we've had some other gyms around our area that are female, they go to the gym, but they don't feel like they're welcomed by other members.
Yeah.
Where we welcome everyone. So we sort of like do that through our newsletters. We do that through community here by social media. And everyone seems to be making new friends here as well because they're new to the area. Some have come from overseas and they've moved here, and they find that they're making friends here, which is a good thing for us.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. Like the example of community, it actually takes action. Like I think, you and I and everyone listening probably sets out at the start of the year with the goal of being community focused, but a lot of people say it without actually doing it. Your competition probably say it without doing it so well. I love the idea of that sort of email newsletter where you can actually inform members of what other members are doing, which is kind of inspiring. So you might have photos up of women taking part in the pink triathlon, or you might have, so-and-so's, rehabbing an injury, or like the little stories they sort of love. Social media, I know you've sort of posted images of like classes and things where you tag members in it. I know they like seeing each other, and when you tag someone, all their friends actually see that post. So they go, wow, I didn't know that, she trained there. So I like you've actually got specific examples around community, and I encourage anyone that's kind of following on, if you want to build their community, sort of feel it, it will take action, and you need to sort of start the next month with a bit of a plan there. What was the last one you said? Like socials. If I know with our gym, when I sold our first gym, we'd had it for 8 years, but I run into like locals who, this was years ago, who are still all friends. They're all still training at the gym, and it wasn't because of me, but because at a Christmas party, they made a good friend connection. They now have those sort of great relationships. So it's definitely a strength of yours. I see so many examples of it. And I also think you probably, you're aware of it, but you are that sort of glue where you actually make sure it's not too cliquey, and you actually make sure everyone gets introduced and feels comfortable when they come in.
Yeah. That's you have to, because at the end of the day, when someone comes in, especially being a female gym, you don't know if they've had a good day or a bad day. So you being miserable and showing that and reflecting that onto someone's not good. But if you have that positive outcome to them, they see that because you're welcoming them with a smile, you're staying positive, and that's the main key, is just staying positive, especially if someone walks in and they've just had a crap morning.
Yeah.
It does happen. I've seen it before, and it's, as long as we've got a smile on our face, we make our members happy. I'm happy as a boss. So yeah.
I love that. I actually had a coffee this morning at a local cafe, and they're not watching this video, so I can share this story, but it was kind of all doom and gloom. And it was like, I've got a concern in my life at the moment. Let me just vomit all my problems and stuff over you. And it fascinates me how a small business owner or manager feels like that's a good idea. I'm a bit like you. I love the idea that if someone logs into this session today, that they'll leave feeling more energetic, more inspired, and actually feel better for the experience. And the same with the gym. Like, they have to come out, I'm so tired, I'm managing work, I've got kids, there's all that stuff, but we hope they sort of leave it at the door. So they walk out feeling better, yeah?
Yeah.
Give me an example. Oh, you go.
No, you're right, buddy. You go.
Okay.
It's all right.
Let's say my wife wanted to sign up. What do you charge for like memberships? What are some of the options?
So if we don't have a promo going, our basic membership is $21.95 per week. It involves just the gym itself. We have a kids corner. So if she has children, she can bring them with her. We've got a corner here for them.
Yep.
We have
a
cardio area. We also have all good quality equipment. So it's pretty much brand new.
Yeah.
As we've only been open since 2021.
Okay.
And we also have our ultimate membership, which is $29.95 per week.
Yeah.
That gives you access to the classes and the gym. Mm-hmm. So if you join under this one, this includes Pilates, yoga, and now Zumba. We've just added onto the timetable.
Yep.
So that's the really best one if you want to do classes all the time, because by the time you pay either a Pilates or a yoga class or Zumba, because they run for an hour, we charge $20 for that class. So it's cheaper for your wife to actually grab the ultimate membership.
I love that. It's called like a logical trade-in, where if you actually anchor that this is a $20 a valuable class, it then seems logical that she would want to upgrade her membership so she can do 1 or 2 classes. Like even 1 class a week, she's going to be saving money. So it's really clever the way you've positioned that membership, where you make it really easy, almost like, was it McDonald's years ago? They used to have that sort of super size where for an extra 50 cents, you'd almost get twice as much soft drink. But it's meant to be a no-brainer. If your staff have to sit there and sell and convince someone that it's worthwhile, the pricing structure is all wrong. So well done in sort of setting it up in a way where it's a no-brainer.
And we don't have contracts.
Okay, very cool. And do you feel like that's important? Do people sort of express that that's something that they're looking for?
Good question. So basically, we have a lot of people that come in here because they've already gone. You already know that they've gone and checked other gyms out when they come here, because you can clearly see it.
Yeah.
So as we tell them that there's no contracts, and we only have a 4-day period of notice that you need to give to the gym. So that form's got to be filled out and returned back to us. Then as soon as they see that, they're like pretty much are already ready to sign up as a member. So they feel like they're not locked in to something. Then if something happens, they have to move to another suburb, or they get an injury, or they've got to go back overseas. We do find that has, it's worked for us. So
yeah. It's interesting. I think there's a perception that, you know, that people will stay for 30 days and leave if that's all you offer. But I think in reality, if the experience is a good one, that should be the main reason why people sort of hang around and why people sort of come along. I think, you know, once you remove that as a potential barrier to entry where they don't feel like they are stuck, you can then just have conversations around them, like, what are your 12-month goals? After weight loss, what would you like to go on to then? And as long as you're actually setting strong goals for them and like secondary goals, there's no reason why they won't sort of be there for a while. I was saying in the sort of prelude to today's session to Michelle, I've got like multiple gym memberships, even though I own a gym. I like going to other gyms. I like seeing the way they do, and none of those I signed a contract for, but I've been there for years. So yeah, I think you can definitely make those work as long as we don't expect them to stay. So if we sign them up, we show a real interest in their goals on day one, and we give them a welcome pack, and then we don't talk to them again, that's where no contracts will bite us in the bum, and we'll sort of always stay around the same number of members. But tell us a bit about your gym. Like, you've had a successful sort of last 5 months. Tell us about some of the wins you've had, and I'd love to pick your brain on how you've been doing it.
So I last year, my main goal was, like we discussed when we first started, was I really wanted that 400.
Yeah.
So reach that target before Christmas, and we got to that target. I think it was around October.
Yep.
So a lot of it was exactly what you told us to do. We did the marketing with the social media. That call sheet worked really well. Anyone that come in, I trained all my staff to make sure that they're aware of how to do this. It was hard work, and it's paid off in the end because I actually got time off at Christmas.
Yeah. It's and to give a little bit of detail around that, I think, you know, prior there was still advertising, there was still marketing and stuff happening. But one thing we were big on was, if we're going to go to something like Facebook, which is ultra competitive, we need to make these ads kind of stand out. We need to make people feel like they can come in and trial the service and meet you and see the facilities without any sort of risk. And yeah, one thing that we were able to do is by, you know, choosing real images, by having, you know, high value, low risk kind of trial type promos, we're able to get a heap of people, like fresh faces, to come in and actually give you guys a go, which I think is important. If you're not the cheapest gym in town, you want them to come in and then make a decision once they've met you, not be comparing you on a website. Like the only person that'll win on a website is like a Crunch Fitness or a Planet Fitness, which is $10 a month or something. But yeah, for you and I, which are a bit more boutiquey, we charge a little bit more money. We want to get them in before they make any sort of comparisons to other facilities.
Yeah, and it does help too, being a Greenvale mum. So a lot of that also came from talking to the mums at the school. They also see how much I've achieved from my weight loss and how far I've come. And I've actually had about 10 people from the school come to the gym and sign up. So it's also building the rapport through people through the community as well.
Yeah, that's definitely something I notice because I'm sort of connected to your social media. It just feels very congruent. Like it feels like you live local, you are one of the mums, and you're actually like, you'll post little updates with your own stories. And I try and do it with my gym. I'm not trying to be like shirts off and abs and here I'm the fitness sort of pinnacle, but instead, I have challenges and days where I don't feel like training, and just sharing my own journey seems to get a lot more connection. And I think with like relatability, I think you're doing that really, really well.
Yeah, it does work. I mean, I do it to inspire other women, because a lot of people think that they can't do anything, but at the end of the day, you can if you put your mind to it and you have that consistency and determination. It does work.
It's just it's almost, they talk about, if everyone's doing something one way, sometimes the freedom and the results come from doing it the other way. And what I see a lot of on Instagram is the manicured images, like the professional sports models. And it's meant to be aspirational, but it's often so far away from someone's current reality that they can't relate to it, and they can't sort of feel like, oh, today's a good day to start. Because if you post an image of this like sports model who hasn't eaten a lot in the last 12 weeks, you start to get this demographic of general population that go, you know what? I need to lose weight before I can go to the gym. I need to get fit before I go to the gym. And I love the fact you're removing some of those barriers to entry and making it feel a bit more, would you say real? Real people in your images and things like that.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna go to the Facebook and social media in any type of form and train with all this makeup on and not show a piece of sweat, it's not reality. It's got to be real. You've got to show the real work that you've done. Like yeah, I hate that type of stuff where people are like covered in all this makeup. Yeah, they look nice and everything, but it's not sending a good image to people that actually want to see the hard work that you put in. Yeah.
And look, I'm sure there is a demographic of fitness facilities where there is a market for that. But I just think your down-to-earth manner is making it really non-intimidating. And there are 400 local women and mums that relate to that and just go, you know what? Of all the other gyms I could be going to, that for me, that feels like the right place to go. So I'm excited for you. I love that, in 5 months you've grown, what is it, like 33% or something like that. And I can see, with a bit more structure now to the way you market and sort of getting a few staff and that involved, you've got a very exciting year ahead. Tell me, what's an example of a campaign you've done that's been successful for you guys?
The one that was the best one that we ever did was the 7 days for $7.
Okay.
So that gave access to members to come through our gym during staffed hours.
Yep.
They give our gym a trial for that 7 days. If they wanted to purchase our key tag, they had to pay a $50 fob fee, but they got that back. Yeah. So that's so if they did join, which a lot of members did join through that 7 days for $7.
Yep.
I believe how many, I can't remember. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So that, and I because that campaign ran really smoothly. I was really happy with that one compared to the $5 for 5 days.
Okay. Good. Both of those are obviously paid offers. I know I've had some success with free offers, and I'm sure you have in the past. How do you feel like a paid offer compares to maybe a free offer?
Well, we found with the ones that did the lesser one, because of where we were, they weren't within our community, like in the Greenvale community.
Yeah.
They were more like they were actually outside of our area, even though they are within the Hume area, which is the Hume City Council.
Yeah.
They weren't actually, like, a lot of them weren't local.
Yeah.
So they were abusing that price, and then they were like, no, I don't want to join. But with the $7 for 7 days, a lot of them came through, and they were in the Greenvale area. And
yeah,
plus,
there's like a whole, we could speak for hours around pricing and psychology of marketing and things like that. But I've got a $30 sort of paid offer on at the moment, and I love paid offers. I love that they can go through to our website on Stripe and they can pay, and my staff don't have to call and convince them to come in, because they all come in. They've actually put their credit card down. And again, like you, we're pretty good in person. Like we actually love the product and the service we deliver. And that's our best opportunity to impress, not by trying to be impressive on sort of social media. So, high value, low risk. It sounds like the $7 one's been great for you. And, for anyone watching, I'd encourage you to try and find your sweet spot. If you're getting tire kickers coming in that just want free, if you're getting too many people that are coming from a long way away that just trying to look for the deal of the day type stuff, just jack it up a little bit higher. But I love selling like a paid trial, because if someone comes in and they have a good experience and they want to join, we already have all their details already in the system. We literally just flick a switch and they go from trial with all their details in our system to member with all their details in a system. So it's actually quite streamlined and efficient for our staff as well.
Yeah, we only, plus remember when we had to do the 2 weeks free as well. Got about 5 new members out of that one, and they're still here.
Yeah, good.
So and that also was the key to some of the members as well.
Yeah, so good. Hey, I know you've done some other promos, like you've done personal training promos. You've had a bunch of leads there and sort of building that like revenue inside your business. I know you're sort of adding things like video to your social media and even like a more regular sort of email correspondence. It definitely gives you a really sort of strong foundation for consistent leads this year. So I'm really excited for you. I think one of the challenges I had when I first started is when you have a good campaign, you start to, like, on a Sunday night, feel a little bit stressed and think, well, what happens when it's no longer a good campaign? Because if you're the one trick pony and you can only do like a free challenge and then you don't have any other tricks up your sleeve, your business kind of goes up and then it falls back down. But what's kind of cool for yourself is there's multiple ways, like email and SMS and Facebook and referrals. You've actually got leads coming from multiple sources. So that'll give you really good consistency this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, on a side note, what do you feel like capacity would be for that facility? Like you've gone from 300 to 400 members quite quickly. Do you feel like there's any space for more in there, or is it more about maybe just focused on selling more of those premium sort of memberships this year?
So basically, our system allows it's up to 400 members, but we've actually 410. Okay. I mean, my boss is happy. That's the main thing. I keep him happy.
Yeah, well, I've met Rod. He's a lovely guy, and he seems really supportive of you. So I can see why he's pleased with you, because you're crushing it.
Yeah, he's the most easygoing person I've ever worked with.
Yeah. Hey, let's tell me a bit about that. So for other, like maybe there's owners that have logged in today and they're trying to think, well, how do I get the best performance from my manager? How do I get someone like Nikki who would grow our memberships by 100? Any tips around the type of support or things that like has worked well for you to feel, that you can do your best?
So, well, basically making sure that you're always sticking to the meetings with the boss, meeting with
Yes.
them. It's face to face or over through Zoom. So if
Yep.
he's unavailable, like if he was over the other side of town, he would
Yep.
either ring, ask me how I was going. He would, is there anything that I need? He'd straight away say, look, we'll book our meeting in, and we keep every record as minutes. So we
Yes.
all have minutes. That's really important, so that you've got it all on record. He also gave me tips on what he would like to see happen, and I always followed through, always, without question. If I had a time where I was like stuck and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get to it, I would ring him and like would make some compromise, and then it was fine. I would meet it in the end. So every time we got to that meeting, everything was all ticked.
I
So
love that.
yeah, you
I've just
have to have
scribbled down.
communication is the key in everything, business, relationships, you name it. If you don't have communication, it won't work. It's just you've got to communicate with your boss,
Yeah.
and it's the same, vice versa.
Guys, if you're joining us on Facebook or perhaps on Zoom, I just scribbled down a couple of gold nuggets there. There's a really effective like business partnership working at Vale Health and Fitness, and sometimes we're like that's the idea of the Accelerate session. Why is it working so well? How come they grew 100 members in 5 months and some gyms are still sort of sitting around the same one? I wrote down, stick to your weekly meetings with constant communication, notes from the meetings. So that's definitely an area I could improve on. So I sometimes make notes and then I will write over the top of them or something like that. But I think it's good just to get really, really clear and everyone agrees on, well, what is our plan for the week or what is our plan for the month? I also wrote down, always follow through. So that's big. And if you set these sort of unrealistic, crazy sort of tasks or goals for the week, it's hard to sort of follow through. So I think as an owner, I would feel so much better knowing that even if we went a little bit more realistic or a bit smaller with our weekly target, I would love to know that it's always going to be done. So if you're a manager watching, try and include that as your sort of trait, is like work on your follow through. If you're an owner, see if you can sort of build that trust where you set really clear targets, you meet every single week, you write it all down, and open communication where if for whatever reason midweek you're not going to get there, like Nikki said, you reach back out and give like a bit of an update so there's not that sort of resistance or conflict at the end of the week. So good. Well done. Let me pause for a second. Let me see if there's any questions. Michelle, Shine, any of the guys that are sort of following us on Facebook, any questions for Nikki in terms of what she's been doing well?
Not really any questions. We did a similar thing a while back, pre-COVID, which was the 14 days for $14, and we did get a lot of traction with that one. So that's just reminded me that could be something that we start up again, maybe coming through to Easter, like a golden egg thing. 14 days for $14 worked really well before, but we did it with the 24-hour access key.
Yes.
We did a really similar thing with a deposit, but moving forward, what we've been doing now with our 2 weeks free, we're basically just giving them the key instead of making them purchase them. And then we've found we've had a lot more follow through saying, if you then decide to go, then you'll pay for that key. Otherwise you just give it back. Our key fobs are $50. So for a lot of people to come and go $14, and then you want another 50, or it's 2 weeks free and then you want 50, which we would give them back, much of a muchness, but majority of people have actually signed up on this 2 weeks free one that we're doing now. But yeah, with our next one, that I think what Nikki was saying, for the 14 days, we would just give the key rather than trying to do a deposit thing again, just a little
Yeah.
less resistance.
Yeah, I think there's a few different pieces to what Nikki shared today. I just want to do a quick summary before we let our Facebook followers finish for today. One, like with the offer, we're trying to get lead quality in front of quantity. Like, so every single one of us has had a month with 100 leads and like 10 of them pick up the phone, and it will send you to the madhouse. Like, you'll literally go bald with stress chasing people. You lose all your confidence. Your staff don't want to come to work and chase someone that doesn't want to be at the gym. So choose an offer which attracts the right type of people. Number two, like Nikki, try and be relatable. Get rid of the stock images. Try and look local. Try and look like real humans are in there sort of to meet you, because that's how you stand out on social media at the moment. Number three, multiple sources of traffic. So once you choose that offer, don't just go to Facebook, but look at the emails, the SMS, the referral type things. And then number four, Nikki said, is she started getting a staff involved with a bit of sales. Like no one, I don't think anyone is like amazing at sales just naturally. Some might have a bit of a gift of the gab or whatever, but that's different than closing sales. I think there's development and there's regular sort of check-ins. So let me finish and say farewell to all the guys that are following us on Facebook. For all our Gym Hub members, I want to continue on. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into sort of more questions as they sort of come up. Michelle, did you have any questions? Like, I know you're sort of brainstorming or thinking out loud in terms of your own offer. Is there anything specific we could maybe help with?
Not really any questions in relation to, I think, what Nikki was talking about. Ours is just, we did have a lot of leads. So I was trying to pull it up just as I was talking to you then. I got Nathan to provide me with the figures. I'm actually away at the moment. This is not my normal house.
Okay.
This is my holiday house.
Well done.
Is a bit scattered with the Wi-Fi is a bit cutting in and out. I can hear, sorry. But yeah, he sent me through the figures, and I did notice that we seem to have a lot of inquiries, and the inquiry to tour ratio is not that great this month. I don't know if I've got it on here still. And that was something to sort of what we were saying before, you know, with the people that are coming through and then they're not maybe good leads, and we are sending out the SMSs and following through. They're still doing very, very well. It's probably inquiry to tour was around, here we go, I've got it here. So we had 106 inquiries, so much this month to date, 106 inquiries, 58 tours and 38 sales.
Yep.
So the tour to sale isn't too bad. And the ratio of the people that sold, this was done actually on the 23rd. So this is 4 days ago.
Yep.
But those inquiries, the other inquiries that we had, we're sort of offering already the 2 weeks. And I know that the team are SMSing them. I don't think they're receiving a huge amount of emails, which I have to follow up with because a lot of that comes from our head office, their email structure. But is there anything else that you might suggest to do to get those inquiries kind of
100%
pull them through?
And it's not like a 1 minute answer. To give it the sort of time it probably needs, can I ask a favor? Tuesday at 12 o'clock, I'm going to do a seminar with you guys around pricing and studio policies and stuff like that. And then at 1, we're actually going to do our group coaching call. Let me dive into that question, and I'll go through all the different things you can do.
Can I be a pain and ask you to do that on Wednesday? Nathan
100%.
does our Tuesday.
Yeah, Wednesday's fine as well.
I have my son on Tuesdays, and I have to take him to all his 4.5. So he does all his sports and everything Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. So Nathan now does the Tuesday call, and I'm always there for the Wednesday at 10 a.m. So I can definitely be there on the 10 a.m. And so will Nathan. But the Tuesday I always watch later on Facebook of an evening when the kids are in bed.
Yeah, perfect. So guys, if you're following along, remember we do a Tuesday and a Wednesday coaching call, or if you're in America, it's Monday and Tuesday. But the second one this week coming is the one where we're going to talk about how do we get a higher show rate. So if you're looking at those details for Michelle, she had 106 inquiries, 58 tours and 38 conversions. The bottom bit's actually not too bad. But when only half of every inquiry comes in the door, that's when they're actually doing that bad comparison where they go to the website and you lose to Crunch Fitness.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, they're cheaper. We need them to come in before they make the comparison. So the low hanging fruit, and the thing we're going to focus on, this will be good for yourself, Nikki, as well, is I'm going to give you like practical strategies, about 5 different things you can do to get more people to come through the door. If you could get 70 something out of 106, you make a lot more membership sales this month.
I do know that part of the reason was we had no phones for about 2 to 3 weeks. So the phones we couldn't, they weren't ringing. It would just come up with a missed call. And we had huge problems over at the start of the month. It was this big debacle with providers, and we now have it fixed, and they're working fine. But I think, as I said, the emails, the people who were inquiring and the staff were then having to go through the missed call list and follow up, just literally calling back any person that had come through with a missed call, because the phone didn't actually ring. It would just go straight to a missed call. So I think some of those people probably inquired and we just didn't get to them quick enough because we weren't staffed for emails on the phone. So I think maybe our email follow-up for inquiries might need to be tightened a little bit as well.
Yeah, and look, I'll give you a little scripting around that as well. I always think if we drop the ball, like if the reason they haven't heard from us is something to do with us, I actually think like being open and honest and just like calling up and saying, hey,
we SMS'd everybody.
I think there's an opportunity where you can just say, hey, how bad? And a lot of people will give you the benefit of the doubt. So let's do that. So I penciled that in for Wednesday.
We reached them.
Nikki, let's come back to you for a second. We've spoken about some of the things you've done which have enabled you to have such good growth. We've spoken about the relationship you've had with your owner, which seems to be like good communication, and it's that follow through. What are sort of a few business lessons or tips you've learned along the years? Is there anything you could sort of share for myself or any of the other kind of gym owners or managers on the call?
Well, we learn a lot from you.
What stood out? What's something that sort of resonated?
Even learning through the coaching calls, like through Cameron, because a lot of time I've had to watch that through Facebook. And then just marketing alone, like learning how to use the Canva, learning how to do all that, because before, like with sales, I wasn't good at sales. It's just I don't know, it just comes naturally when you love something so much, you have a passion for it, you have the best way to deal with it, I suppose, is another way too, is once you've got that passion and you put that into your job, it also helps as well.
I think part of it is like playing to your strengths. I love the people stuff. I like chatting like we are now. And if a member comes into our gym, I love just spending time with them and asking them about their fitness and what have you been doing. It probably doesn't feel as robotic and as salesy as other gyms because we just like actually care. And I think that's an important part for you, is you've started to identify that they love that relatability. They love that you train yourself. And if you can play to your strengths instead of trying to be someone else, like some Wolf of Wall Street salesperson on the phone, if that's not you, stop trying to be someone else. I think that's a good sort of lesson or takeaway. Anything else that stands out from last year?
So basically, we've now got I can't find it. One of the girls must have it. So it's a book, and each day we have to fill out what we're going to do each day. So this is for social media. So Monday we'll put this here. So we'll put about a member. The next one will be Technique Tuesday. Wednesday will have something to do with a recipe, so on and so on. So we have to have that full. So today's was Michaela. She's one of our members who just had a baby.
Yep.
So everyone was asking, I'm like, sorry, I haven't been able to put it out just yet because she was waiting for the photo shoot to be done. So now that was photos yesterday, and we'll be able to put that out. So we actually had a planner for the whole week. I just got it from Kmart, and I just sat down with my fitness service coordinator, and we did that every Thursday, and would set it up for the whole week, the following week.
I love it. It's the nature of being a gym manager and owner is you sort of have good intentions sometimes, but because you're in customer service, you might have to go and attend to a broken machine, or you might have a toilet that's leaking or something that sort of distracts you from your original plan. So I love, instead of doing impromptu social media posts, which might get interrupted and you might miss a day or two, you're actually sitting down and looking at, well, how does that piece of content fit into the total for the week? And I like open up Instagram, I look at 9 tiles and I think, does that depict the high community focus that we want? Does that actually demonstrate we're really good at results? And I challenge anyone that's watching the video, do a 9-square audit on your social media and tell me what's missing. Like no one, that's the only, what would you say, that's what's happening inside of your gym? Is it a good depiction? And if it's not, actually put something in there. I love like that Technique Tuesday, what's on Wednesday, Throwback Thursday. I love these little things where you theme the days. So it makes it easier to come up with content that's actually, enjoyable as well.
Yeah, the Technique Tuesday is going to be back because I've had staff away. So we found that a lot of people found it useful, that especially during classes, a lot of people have bad technique. So that's why we've added a class now, which is more about functional training. So that just involves a 4-week program on the timetable, and we change it every 4 weeks. So it's all our primal movements that we use every day.
Yes.
We're getting good feedback with that. So as long as our members are happy, then our staff's happy as well.
So one thing I would encourage you to use, and you might be doing already, is somewhere in your weeklies, let's say you do 1 post a day over 7 days and you map it out on a Thursday, make sure there's like a high engagement post or something that's actually going to get some engagement. So if you think of like Facebook as an example, engagement is measured by the number of people that like your post, that comment, or they share. So engagement has 3 things that factor in. A like isn't worth as much in terms of an engagement score as like a comment or a share. So you're going for that ultimately. But what I mean is like when you're planning out your week, you need at least 1 post a week where lots of people comment and share. Otherwise, you can go to all this effort. You get to the end of the week, you might have 1 like per post and you've got 7 for the week. There's like so much effort and work and no one's actually seeing any of that. So at least once a week, use a poll. What's your preferred time to train? Is it morning or afternoons? And see if you can get a few comments. Do you prefer strength training or cardio? So questions, polls, photos of babies, photos of pets, tagging members and trainers on posts. These are things that are generally going to get more engagement than your other posts, at least once a week. And that's going to make a big difference to how your paid ads perform as well. Because if you have a high engagement and Facebook deems you as being relevant in your local area, they'll also give you a little bit of a boost in terms of your small budget when you run paid ads.
Yeah, we've done a few of those polls where we've said to someone, do you like to train in the morning or evening as well? We've also asked, do you prefer walking or running or strength or cardio?
Yeah.
And they seem to work. So that's a good thing.
And look, I might spend 2 hours writing a post about the science of fat loss. And those posts are really important. If you can, you want to direct the post back to your website. Ideally, the content's on the website and you're driving traffic back to your website, where it's like you dictate what information they get and they don't keep getting all the flashy objects or shiny object syndrome on social media. So that's one goal. But to be honest, you might only get a couple of people that go and read that blog. Mix it up a little bit. So a bit of education, a little bit of like just getting engagement and people to participate. So a social media account, which has people watching it like Netflix with their arms folded, no participation, one-way communication, that social media account will die. And it's not actually generating any leads. If anything, it's just holding the hand of your existing members. If you want to generate members and you want new people inquiring, you actually need some engagement on there as well. So yeah, do a video. This is how you swing a kettlebell, or do a blog, but make sure you're actually getting comments and shares and likes. And if you're not, find somewhere in the week to put something in there that's actually going to get some interest. During the Soccer World Cup, I don't like who's going to win the Soccer World Cup. And it doesn't even have anything specifically to do with what we were doing that week, but that post went nuts with people actually having an opinion on it. And that was sort of important to us. The other thing I'd say just to finish on is have some fun. Like, I don't think people are just coming to the gym for the results. Like that, yes, it's good if we can give them fitness and fat loss and strength or whatever. But like if you can have a little bit of fun while you're doing it, those posts go really, really well. Just your trainers having a bit of banter, or, it might be an outtake of a video you tried to record, or anything that makes it look a little bit more fun rather than that kind of stale, serious fitness facility. I just don't think they're very appealing if I've got the choice.
Yeah, bloopers are the best one that we said we were going to do last year, when there's so many times where we've gone to do the story and we're just like, oh shit, oh no, I look crap, don't do that one. Oh, I sounded like, oh, it was funny. We should have done some bloopers, but I had a lot going on at the end of the year. It was just too much.
Honestly, if you've pre-recorded anything, don't be scared. If it's still in your phone, go back to it. But even when you do content this month, I'm sure you'll have a few outtakes. Don't be scared to use it. It comes across as genuine and real, and that's your point of difference. Not because there's more boobs and bums and abs and stuff than the other gym. That no one's that conceited, I think.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm so grateful for your time. I just want to finish with one question. I'm not sure if it's something that puts you on the spot, but is there one thing now that you wish you knew when you sort of went into a management role for a gym?
Yeah, look, I was a bit okay with my marketing, but your actual tools and the way that you've actually are teaching people is something that I never had. And it was just marketing better is something that I didn't think. Well, I thought, I was okay, but and then when I wanted to do certain things, it wasn't right. So I'd say that I just wish I knew how to market and word things better with that phone sheet, which tend to actually help a hell of a lot. So
yeah,
I've had one of those before.
Great feedback. Yeah, and look, it's through failing and trial and error, isn't it, that we sometimes find the right stuff. So thank you so much for your time today. You've been wonderfully transparent and honest. And, I know myself, Michelle, Shine, all the guys that have sort of followed along on Facebook as well today, we really, really appreciate you sort of sharing what's happening behind the curtain there. You guys are crushing. And anything we can do in the network to sort of support you to have another super successful year, we hope to do that.